Hey, you know that letter we sent asking you, Joe Biden, to, negotiate with Russia and settle this Ukrainian thing that was signed by 30 far left politicians in the United States Congress? You know what? Oh, forget about that. That was a mistake. Just yesterday, Washington Post, liberals urge Biden to rethink Ukraine strategy. Democratic lawmakers call for direct talks between the United States and Russia. And how did they do this? They did this with a letter that was signed by 30 of your most far left members of Congress. And here's your coverage in the Washington Post. I mean, the letter was sent by the group on Monday, and they've already retracted it. They've already retracted it. Actually, if you look on this page here to the far right, you can see liberal Democrats withdraw a letter to Biden that urged him to rethink the Ukrainian strategy. Here's the money quote here. Democrats are specifically concerned that the United States is not engaging in regular dialogue with Russia as part of its effort to end a protracted war that has caused thousands of deaths and displaced 13 million people. The Biden administration has been adamant that it's up to Kiev and whether or not to negotiate with Russia, arguing Ukrainians are free people who should be able to decide their fate. Apparently, the United States citizens are not a free people to be able to decide what we want to do with our money. We just must absolutely positively send it to Ukraine. We have no free will in the matter. You might remember that just a couple of days ago, Kevin McCarthy, who might be the incoming House Speaker should the Republicans win a majority in the election, which is 2 weeks from today, suggested that the new Republican majority in the House, should that happen, might not be a rubber stamp for Ukrainian funding in the future because people back home here in America might not be too happy with inflation, and there's going to be a really tough economy coming up fairly soon. Most people consider that to be a certainty, and therefore, maybe we might not be too happy about sending money to fight Russians and Ukraine. Maybe we should be kind of focusing things here in America, especially say like at the border, we have our own invasion to worry about. But that's another topic. But when he said that, Kevin McCarthy, Adam Kinzinger suggested that that was treason, actually, on McCarthy, that it was aiding and abetting the enemy to even suggest a public policy change on that issue. So it was a rather surprise that yesterday, look at the date on the letter, October 24th. That was just yesterday. A significant letter here. This is just not written on the back of a napkin. Significant letter issued directly to the president. And I'm just going to scroll down. If you've ever read one of these things, they're torturous. Just going to scroll down to the second page, the money quote. We urge you to make vigorous diplomatic efforts in support of a negotiated settlement and ceasefire, engage in direct talks with Russia, explore prospects for a new European security agreement acceptable to all parties that would allow for the sovereign and independent Ukraine, and in coordination with our Ukrainian partners, seek a rapid end to the conflict, including, it says earlier up here, direct engagement with Russia to reduce harm and support for Ukraine achieving a peaceful settlement. In other words, negotiate directly with Russia. This was the letter that was just issued yesterday by some of your more liberal members of the United States Congress. Jay Powell, is that how you say it? I don't even know how you say it. Cory Bush. You could just kind of pick off some names here. Ilhan Omar, Barbara Lee, Shirley Jackson Lee, whatever her name is, Presley, our very own member of the squad here from beautiful Massachusetts. There's like 30 people on this letter. But oops, just one day later, we didn't mean that. Progressive Democrats retract Biden Ukraine letter after furious debate. Just so that you know where I'm coming down on this, I think the points that are made in the letter are really valid. I'd rather us see focus our efforts on the border in the United States, our southern border, where we have an invasion going on, as Carrie Lake said just the other day, rather than a war, way over there. Haven't we made that mistake a couple of times not that long ago? But that's what permanent Washington wants because, well, they love war. even though we don't really want it. People don't want it. Progressives, or now they're progressives. Yesterday they were liberals, today they're progressives. This is the Guardian. Dramatic U-turn from Progressive Caucus withdrawing letter sent to president urging talks to end war. Now let's just go to why the letter was sent out. The letter was drafted several months ago, but unfortunately was released by staff without vetting. Oh, let's think about that for a minute. In other words, they've thought this way for months. They thought there should be a negotiated settlement directly with Russia for months, but they haven't had the courage to actually say it until somehow they did that on Monday. You know, so I used to work at the State House here in Boston many, many, many years ago. And we would write these types of letters, to support funding for this or support funding for that. It's a common legislative tactic. You would never, as a staff member, release this letter without approval from the boss. Ever. Never, ever, ever. You would absolutely positively make sure you look them straight in the eye and say, are we going to release? This is not an accident. And it's not just some mistake that some staffer hit the button. No way. No way. Let's look at excuse or justification reason number 2, why they've now changed their mind less than 24 hours later. Just 2 paragraphs down, she says, the letter sent yesterday has been conflated with GOP opposition to support for Ukrainians' just defense of their national sovereignty. Excuse me, just like I said, McCarthy questioned that just the other day. As such, it is a distraction at this time, and we withdraw the letter. So first they said it was a mistake, the staffer hit the wrong button. Oh, mistake. But now, 2 paragraphs later, they're saying, well, we did kind of believe it, but it's a distraction. It's been conflated in the news cycle, and so we're withdrawing it. We really do kind of believe it, but we're such cowards, or we've been coward, that now we're withdrawing it. Oops, sorry. Yeah. And Mark Pocan, is that how you say it, from Wisconsin, congressman who signed the letter, said that it had been first drafted in July, months ago. So he's been thinking about this for months, admitted in the explanation here. I have no idea why it went out now. Bad timing. Not as if they kind of believe it. Well, you can't really tell what progressives believe. It just, depends upon, how the wind is blowing. But the wind blew against them when they released this letter. And the military-industrial complex wants this war, so they've gotten a talking to, and now they've said, oh, we're going to take back the letter. According to the article here, the sharpest comment came from another Massachusetts congressman, Jake they're from Massachusetts. I can't even pronounce their Jake Auchincloss. I can't even pronounce his name. Who condemned the letter as an olive branch to a war criminal who's losing his war. Ukraine is on the march. Congress should be standing firmly behind Biden's effective strategy, including tighter, not weaker sanctions. Thank you, neocon, liberal warmonger, Jake Auchincloss. And lastly, from Ro Khanna, I can't believe I'm going to agree with Ro Khanna on this, who also signed the letter, I believe, that he voted for all the aid packages, and our nation should never silence or shut down debate. But that's exactly what's happened here. The administration said, we're not taking this letter, and we want you to take it back. And the Democrats in Congress were like, oh, sorry, Mr. President. Sorry, war machine. We'll take back that letter, and we'll blame it on a staffer. Yeah, some rogue staffer. Maybe, I'm sure there'll be an investigation, just like there's an investigation on who released the decision at the Supreme Court. Yeah, they're looking for the real leaker. The simple fact of the matter is we should not be teasing a potential one-on-one war directly with Russia that could be a nuclear war over a country that is way, way far away from us. I feel for the Ukrainians. It's awful what they're going through. I don't necessarily think it's our duty to step up to this level and interject ourselves in a war that, A, we cannot win, and only China can win a war between the United States and Russia. Hey, I'm John F. Gately, broadcasting to you from beautiful Plymouth, Massachusetts, behind enemy lines. Have a great day. Bye-bye.